When you hear the word pathology and forensic medicine, a lot goes through the mind, especially not the very pleasant thoughts, and on the other hand, the fascinating views. But the interesting facts about this branch of medicine leaves no one in doubt the efficacy and relevance it embodies. Pathology is the science of the causes and effects of diseases, especially the laboratory examination of samples of body tissue for diagnostic or forensic purposes. It basically delves into the investigation of causes of death through meticulous examination and analysis of the deceased. This shortage of pathologists might not come as a surprise to some people. Regardless, it plays a significant role in advanced analysis techniques. Among notable forensic pathologists in Nigeria, with about 80 publications in related disciplines to his name, is one who was also at the core of the coronavirus pandemic in Nigeria as the president of the Nigerian Medical Association. He is an administrator, scholar, family-oriented man, and a special advisor on health matters to Ondo State. This is Inspirators on NTA. My name is Ngozi Jude. My guest today is one who needs no introduction per se. Is one who has a towering height of relevance in the medical field. He is Professor Adedayo Francis Faduyile. Thank you so much for joining me today.
Thank you, it's my pleasure.
You look relaxed, I must say. I've never met you in person, but I must say you look relaxed a little bit.
Yes, when you don't have a lot of things to start looking up to and struggling with.
Well, let's go into the nitty-gritty of our conversation today. I believe the blue blood runs in your veins, and I would readily assume that life was a little bit privileged for you. Is that the case?
Well, it's relative, but I think so. But it's gladly relative. And well, whatever it is, I have to thank God. Some people who are more royal than me are abound, and there are so many that are more royal in royalty. So whichever way, we have to thank God for whatever level we are.
Absolutely, and I'm very glad you said it's relative, because I've actually met royalty before a prince, so to speak, and then I was wondering. Okay, let's leave it at that. Just give me a picture, paint a picture for me of how your earliest days were, growing up, your influences, and life generally.
Well, I grew up in Okjupa. It's a restive town in Ondo State, and it's a small town that one of the major things that you know about Okjupa for then was production of oil palm, and the oil mill was working perfectly, and the people are loving people. My father then was not yet a king; he was a teacher. I come from a home where both parents are teachers. My mom was also a teacher then. So, and at those times, these are the group of people that are the highest level of respect and influence in those towns. So, amongst my peers, I was one of those who had the opportunity of going to nursery school. It's not now that you have nursery school everywhere. And again, I went to one of the best public school in that vicinity at that time. My house and where I grew up from was a house of extended family, where my dad has a lot of not siblings, my nephew, my niece, my cousins, and a lot of them that are bound coming to drop their children to the educated person there. So even all through my secondary school, there was never a time when we do community eating. When you have the children, you put food for them, everybody eats. That's why that I'm the first child of my mom and my dad. It was I did not at any time had the opportunity of being the first person who would pick the meat. after eating. So to mean that at every instance I have somebody who is older than me that will do this community. But I think life was very, very interesting then. You see everybody like your brothers, like your sister.
Professor Francis Adedayo Faduyile had his early educational background at St. John's School, Okitipupa, Ondo State, between 1976 and 1982, from where he proceeded to other schools for his secondary education, including Ikoya Grammar School and Christ School at Ekiti, and also Ondo Boys High School. University of Lagos was next, where he duly bagged his MBBS from the College of Medicine in 1996. The average family then is either you are a professional, is either they choose a course for you, you're either going to be a lawyer, a doctor, or an engineer. These three main things. Was it the case for you? Was it a form of parental preference or a passion?
Well, the truth about it is that I don't know where I have this touch of heart of having compassion of people. I remember my childhood days. I follow my mom. Maybe when my other siblings were coming, they went for antenatal. I don't know. I couldn't remember, but I know I usually follow my mom to, I think, the antenatal prayer where they clap, they sing, they do things. Again, I also remember when I was young and I go to hospitals, I see large number of people waiting to see somebody in the room. And I felt that why should this large number of people be waiting to see someone? They should be taken care of very quickly. They should not wait for too long. They should be seen as they are in those places. And when they told me that the person everybody is queuing to wait for, to see, is a doctor. So I just felt that, look, I have to help the system, the community. I have to help people that I'm seeing waiting for that man so that I join in the race. And sincerely, I do not have any pressure from my parents or anybody around, but I had at that time molded and set my mind that I wanted to be a doctor. I think it was a calling that I chose from what I have seen in the community, and I thank God that I subsequently became a medical doctor.
Oh, very good. And was it the same calling that veered into the aspect of pathology and forensic medicine? Because it's interesting. I've never really met a lot of people who are into forensic medicine. Make me understand what.
Well, sincerely, I think it's just the same pool. When I became a doctor, I look at an area that I think, look, I can also work in. I will tell you something that happened to me when I was in my third year in university. We had a very handsome man with a good mien. He came and he said he wanted to be a resident doctor. He came to start residency in pathology. I look at him, I felt pity on the young man. I was a student and I was bold enough to go and meet him and say, what are you doing here in pathology? Well, he said something and sincerely I've forgotten, but I felt so, I felt for him that why should someone like you come to this dead end medicine, not knowing that that is where I want to go and profess. So I think it's another calling. I wanted to be a surgeon or a gynecologist. And when I started as a medical officer, I think those people I served them saw my prowess. I was good, but I think my mind was set up on pathology. And the same way, I also went into pathology. And I think there's no other specialty that I would have done, that I would have been happy with other than pathology. I enjoyed it. People actually misunderstood pathology. Pathology has a lot of inherent benefit because one thing we talk about autopsy room is a place where the dead teaches the living how to live longer. So if everybody dies and we just bury and we just throw away, we will not know how or what caused that death and how we can improve the life of people. So when you are in the autopsy room, you are seeing that corpse or that body that you want to work on. You are looking at the science. You do the work, you are not looking at the body. Then you now see that, oh, you should have done this. This is how it should have been. And that is passed to the physician or the surgeon, and they improve on the next person that they see. And I think that is how, that is the nexus of pathology to helping humanity.
His love for medicine took him further, and he subsequently got a master's degree in cell biology and genetics in 2006. Young Francis also went ahead to become a fellow of the Medical College of Pathologists in 2007 from the National Postgraduate Medical College of Nigeria, where he took advanced courses in pathology, surgical pathology, and forensic medicine. Professor Faduyile, not satisfied with mediocrity, sought to further broaden his medical horizon by obtaining a diploma of the National Cancer from the Division of Cancer Prevention, USA.
Today, one of the major causes of death, even in developed countries, is cancer. We have gone from a position in which many of the deaths are from infective diseases, though we still have that in Nigeria. But after that, then we go to non-communicable diseases, that is obesity, hypertension, all those ones. But science has, at every stage, shifted to defeat those things that give us such mortality. And after we have defeated infection, communicable diseases, we are doing everything to guide people so that it doesn't kill. But cancer is coming, it's rearing its head so much. So we need to also look into cancer prevention, look into cancer molecular studies, so that we can also find a way of getting human to live a better life
and a more productive life. Do you think Nigeria has gotten to a point where prevention and control has gotten to the maybe like the developed countries?
We are far from them. That's the truth. But the important thing is about the cheapest of any treatment is the prevention, and it is the easiest to be deployed. Unfortunately, our people are not well informed, or not well educated, or they are intensely superstitious. So some things you want them to do, say, over my dead body, it cannot be my turn, it cannot be this. Meanwhile, if you have done those preventive measures, you will never get it. Most women in reproductive age ought to be doing pap smear tests at least once every year for the first 3 years. If they
every year?
Yes. If they have three negative, consecutive negative, once every 3 years. Okay? And we have different levels in which different types of pap smear that we can do. So, but how many people are willing to follow such little pieces of advice for preventive measures? Many of us are not doing it. Most men are supposed, by the time you are 40, 50, to start doing colonoscopy. Check your intestine. And if we see things that could make such person come down with colorectal carcinoma, they are picked and they are nipped in the bud.
That's one very good thing when you talk to doctors, even in this kind of program, when you just want to, be on the softer side of life. But then, I've learnt one thing today. Pap smear every once in a year. I hope you've heard that. Well, the program is still Inspirators on NTA. We'll be right back after this short break. Okay, you are still watching Inspirators on NTA. Just took a little, and we are back with Professor Francis Adedayo Faduyile, a professor of pathology and forensic medicine. But I'm kind of curious to understand how you, with your medical profession and with your medical degrees, you still went ahead to bag a degree in business administration. What was the motivation?
Well, for everybody who wants to succeed in life, you will still have to have this business knowledge. That business administration degree actually opened my 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 thought and my way of life to a new horizon and see how things are done. So I think it is on that basis that I went to study to have a master's in business
Administration.
Yes.
And 40 publications. It's reported that you have about 40 publications. Are they all in line with the medical field?
Well, it's not actually 40. I have about 80 publications.
About 80?
Yes, and
You must be.
and we have been able to do many of the publications were about things that are day-to-day activity.
Okay.
I had some publication about death investigation, about exhumation of bodies that at those times we have some thoughts that it was a homicide, and the government, I mean the court, was able to get those people convicted based on that the death that happened for the victim. And one of my publications is also to see what actually caused deaths in motorcycle accidents. And we know a lot of them put on helmets, and a lot of them are not following some instruction. And we're able to prove that many of them still die from head injury to confirm that wearing helmet is
much safer.
safer. And again, we also found out that even those who put on helmets, who were on helmets, some of them still die from head injury. To also prove that the speed of the riders are also very important in that regard. So I have divers. I also write papers on cytology, where we showed how cytology is helping in diagnosis. So many of our papers are tailored towards improving the health of the people and ensuring that people do things that will make them live
longer and better. Now, incidentally, during the COVID 2020, you were the NMA president at that time. I can't imagine how the truckload and the overwhelming effect it was having on you, such responsibility in an uncertain environment, of course, around that time. How were you able to level up to that responsibility of making sure that Nigeria didn't get so hit, even though we lost a lot of lives?
Well, we must first of all appreciate God for giving us our own genetics makeup that did not allow COVID-19 to ravage the populace as it has done in some other countries. But as it is, if you observe, the Nigerian Medical Association was in the forefront of letting the government to start shutting it down. Weeks before the government agreed to shut down, we have been on air saying we don't have COVID in Nigeria. The only way COVID can get to Nigeria is if it is imported. And whatever it is good for us to shut down all our borders. But economically, it doesn't make sense. So the government was dilly-dallying until it dawned on them that they have to do that, and they did that. Again, Nigerian having a health institution that we have a lot of restiveness, we were able to bring all the doctors, all the nurses, all the pharmacists, and other healthcare professionals to agree to work in harmony and see that we face this pandemic that has entered this country as one body. And we did that.
Why vying for the post of the NMA president? You said you were going to promote, preserve, and improve the association by applying innovative strategies and technologies at all levels. Were you able to do that during your tenure?
Yes, certainly we promoted it. We had some innovation in place. But one of the major things I found when I came in was clinical governance was not best practices that is done in our hospitals. We thank God they have started before I came. We also institutionalized it, and people and all the hospitals were working to bring in clinical governance. What do I mean by clinical governance? In which we want to systematically look at how the hospital is being run so that we can scientifically find areas in which we can improve things. And we did that. In many hospitals, there were a lot of improvement based on clinical governance. Again, we were able to have many of our hospitals in a position that we had less disruption of services because we were meeting all the needs of the different healthcare professionals. Before I came in, the Medical and Dental Council of Nigeria had not been set up for upward of, I think, 4 or 5 years. But when I came in within 6 months, we were able to set it up, and this council is necessary for making sure that doctors work within their limits and get things done. And these are some of the areas that we were able to make those changes.
Special advisor to the Ondo State governor. Yes. Now, for you, such role coming from your medical profession and, of course, looking at Ondo State in general.
Thank you. As a special advisor to the governor of Ondo State, Arakunrin Oluwarotunwa let's say NCON, I must first of all appreciate you. Under my office, I was saddled with overseeing the tertiary health institution, the contributory health commission, the emergency, emerging and re-emerging diseases, as well as the emergency medical services. These are about the 4 core areas that were given to my office. For the contributory health commission, Ondo State Contributory Health Commission came into existence about 3 years or 4 years now, and I can tell you, by the time I came in, we started the oranges, where all the civil servants in Ondo State were enrolled in the contributory health insurance scheme of the state. And today, we have a enrollee of over 120,000. If you want to assess how well we have gone, if you see National Health Insurance Act, National Health Insurance Authority registration in Ondo State they have been working for about 15 years. They have about 30,000 or less than that, and within 3-4 years we have hit over 130,000, and it's effective. We are paying our money, the capitation as at when due, and our people are happy about it. We are now extending it to the artisan, to the non-formal sectors, and we are going to ensure that health becomes something that we can actually sell to every other part of this country through the health insurance in Ondo State.
Much accolades for you there and for Ondo State government. But let's talk a little bit about family. At 26, you got married. Was that, what was running through your mind when you just...
Also, one of my childhood interests, if I have to say it, is fantasy. It's for me to have completed my family at that.
And you achieved that?
I achieved that, but my last child came at 31. So it's just around it. I think it is what you set off your mind at. I finished medical school, I think, at 24, 23, 24. I did my house job. I completed my house job.
So you got married when you were even serving?
Yes. I had my first child when I was serving. And at that time, as a young man, what else should I be doing? And I'm happy. We are all doing well. It's about how mature you are. I'm not saying that everybody should marry that early, We have people who are 30 years and they are immature in handling things. And both wife and husband are doing well, and the
Yeah.
children,
And
they are
children.
doing good.
Yeah.
And I think it's one of the childhood fantasy I had, and I
So
followed through.
what are the major core family values for you from where, I mean, from growing up, and the ones you've also instilled in your own children?
It's discipline.
Discipline.
Discipline. My parents are disciplinarian to a fault, being truthful, and